imagine that you can't touch doorknobs, hand railings, or other people's hands. Imagine that sometimes even being around your family can be too much. This is what life is like for celebrity Howie Mandel. So this is Howie Mandel. He is, or was, the host of the famous game show Deal or No Deal, and he is also a judge on America's Got Talent. Despite his success, Howie Mandel suffers from a debilitating disorder called OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. It makes even the smallest daily activities difficult for him, and sometimes he even has to retreat to his second home on his property to get away from his family. So obsessive compulsive disorder is an anxiety disorder that affects over 2 million American adults. I'm qualified to talk about this because I have had OCD since I was 6 years old. Obsessive compulsive disorder is composed of obsessions and compulsions. Obsessions are unwanted repeated thoughts, and compulsions are repeated rituals or behaviors that seek to satisfy the obsession. The National Institute of Mental Health states that if people are obsessed with germs or dirt, they may develop a compulsion to wash their hands over and over again. In Howie Mandel's case, he does not like to touch other people's hands or shake their hands. Instead, he chooses to do the fist bump, which you can see in this picture. Referring to his hands, Howie Mandel says that, "In my mind, this is a petri dish. Otherwise, I would spend the day as I have in the past in the men's room rubbing and scrubbing and scalding." So, obsessive compulsive disorder is not just about germ phobia. It can include other obsessions such as the fear of an intruder, having frequent violent or sexual thoughts, and even having conflicting thoughts about religion. So, Sigmund Freud said sufferers from this illness are able to keep their affliction a private matter. He's basically saying that people with OCD are embarrassed by it, so they like to hide it, and they do a pretty good job with it. So, now we've talked about the definition of OCD, and now we're going to talk about the causes. So, obsessive compulsive disorder has many different theories for how it's caused. According to Dr. Sharon Valente, who is an assistant professor at USC, she says that according to cognitive theorists, anxiety disorders, including OCD, may stem from negative thinking and irrational ideas, as well as genetic and biochemical sources. So OCD is linked to genetics as well as a chemical imbalance in the brain. Other theories include traumatic events such as rape, even giving birth. Others include getting sick and even a drug-induced OCD. Amphetamines and cocaine can cause OCD, in case you didn't know that. So now we've talked about the definition and the causes for OCD, and now we're going to talk about the treatment. So if you believe that you have OCD and you need help, you can talk to your primary care doctor, and they can help you, or they can refer you to a mental health specialist. Some therapies that they use are psychotherapy, medication, or both. Psychotherapy is it's a cognitive behavior therapy that tries to change how you think about and react to certain situations. It includes exposure therapy and response prevention. Exposure is basically forcing that person to face their fear. An example would be somebody afraid of germs would have to touch a toilet, and response prevention would be preventing the compulsion or the action. So in this example, the person who touched the toilet would not be able to wash their hands. So it's very in your face, it's kind of uncomfortable. So some people like to do medication. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, they say that the most commonly prescribed medications for OCD are anti-anxiety medications and antidepressants. But the downside is that antidepressants can increase the risk for suicide. It's kind of ironic, but so now I've talked to you about the definition, causes, and treatment for OCD. Hopefully I have been able to enlighten you a little more about what OCD is, and that it's a serious illness that affects millions of people, including Howie Mandel. And so I have OCD and I cannot be calm. Thank you very much.